I think my favorite thing leading into each Mortal Kombat game is speculating and discussing with fellow community members who we think and who we want to make the next game's roster. And I've been doing this since Deadly Alliance, where every time there's a new Mortal Kombat game, I'm around to discuss it and speculate on it, and it's so much fun. And the biggest part of that is the characters that are going to make the game, because the roster is such a huge aspect, it's a huge part of a fighting game's success. It's what interests all of us. We all have our favorites, right? So what I'm going to be doing is running and orchestrating a poll here for a few days, starting today, starting right now. Link in the description for the poll, and I'm going to walk you through filling it out and what it entails. But yes, I'm going to be trying to gauge what the community wants in terms of characters for Mortal Kombat 1. Now, before we can do that, as well as get into other polls that I've already orchestrated on Twitter, I'm going to need you to like this video. If you're liking the content that I'm putting out, as well as if you are a big Mortal Kombat fan, make sure like this video, as well as subscribe, because you're not going to want to miss any of the content that we're putting out. We're putting out videos almost daily and a podcast each week, as well as a live stream where we discuss with you and hang out and chill and play all the various old Mortal Kombat games. So yes, definitely subscribe. You're not going to want to miss any of that. And yes, like the video, greatly appreciated. Now to the actual content. I'm going to be running this poll, and here's what it looks like. And it's just asking you what are the characters you want to see make Mortal Kombat 1. You get to choose up to 20. Now, if you can't think of 20 or you don't want to see anyone specific, that's okay. You don't have to fill out all 20, but you can choose up to 20. You just check the boxes like you can see on screen here. Check the boxes of the characters that you want to see, and then hit submit. And once that data has been added to the pile, once I get all the data over the next few days, I'm going to follow up here in just under a week. I'm going to be following up with this video, counting down the results. So I will go from 20 all the way to number 1, who is most requested amongst those who fill out this form, to get a gauge of the community, who people really want to see in Mortal Kombat 1. Now, I've excluded certain characters from this poll, only the ones that have already been announced or revealed for the game. So the 9 that are on the website, basically what we saw in the reveal trailer, plus Johnny Cage. They don't need to be on the poll. We already know they're in the game, so let's just exclude those. So I'm only gauging which 20 remaining characters. So if we were to get 20 more, who do you want them to be? What would make you most happy and excited for this game? So yes, I am very curious what the community is going to choose. And if you could share this poll in other Discords, on Twitter, on like Reddit or forum boards or community groups, Facebook groups, whatever, share with friends, I would greatly appreciate it, because my goal here is to gather as much data as possible to get the biggest sample size we can for the community. And then we can take those results and maybe share them with NRS, tag them and say, here, these are the characters that, So anyways, I think that would be great, because, the roster's already decided, but, for future combat packs, it's good to know what characters people are really asking for. So this is our opportunity to voice our support for these characters, root on the characters that we really want to see. But that aside, so that's this part. So make sure you do that. The link is in the description for that poll. Now, the other part of this video is going to cover some of the polls that I recently ran on Twitter. Now, if you missed those, make sure you're following me on Twitter. It's at Netherkast. Make sure you go ahead and follow me on Twitter, so that way, because I want to run more of those, because I thought those turned out great, got a lot of responses, and these were more targeted towards little categories, because you can only gauge so much from Twitter. You only get 4 options. So I broke these up into different types of categories based on the theme, I guess, I was going for. So for this first one, I asked people, which of the more requested MK4 to Deception females do you want to see most return for Mortal Kombat 1? So our options here were Ashra, Li Mei, Nitara, and Serena. As you can see in the results here, Nitara took first place, but not by much. Serena was just behind her, and then Ashra was just narrowly beat out by Serena, and then Li Mei with a little bit more distance in last. But all of them got a good number of votes, and this was our most voted on poll. And these characters unanimously received quite a bit of support between all of them. This was our closest race yet. And it's not really surprising to see Nitara win. She was in the recent movie, and she's just got a great concept. But I would love to see all 4 of these characters make the roster. I think they've got a great degree of support. So yeah, absolutely. And then for the second poll, I was asking about the males, same kind of category, except for this time it's about the more requested males. And this is a little bit weird. I don't know that Shijinko or Kai are more requested. Granted, that's probably why they didn't do so hot. But Havoc running away with this thing, yeah, not really a surprise. There's a lot of Havoc supporters out there. People have been asking for this character for so long, and he took a pretty decisive first in one of, I think, our biggest blowout here out of any of these polls. I did 7 of them. So yeah, Havoc took number 1, and then second was Reiko with a decent amount of support still, and then Shijinko and Kai not getting nearly as much. I would love to see all 4 of these characters. Once again, I think all 4 of them would be great characters, but yeah, I think Havoc is no doubt the top dog there. And then for poll number 3, I was asking specifically about the ninjas that were not featured as playable in Mortal Kombat 11, which ones people wanted to see most come back, and Smoke took a decent lead here on first place. Not quite Havoc levels of blowout, but yeah, he's got a lot of support leading into Mortal Kombat X and Mortal Kombat 11. A lot of people have wanted to see a follow-up to Mortal Kombat 9's Smoke design, and his gameplay was a lot of fun. So not surprising here, once again, Smoke with a good amount of support, and then Ermac and Reptile a narrow second and third there, just so close between those two, and I think they kind of go together. The X character is sitting out from 11, so yeah. And then Tremor a distant last place. I like Tremor, but yeah, it's hard to compete with Smoke, Reptile, and Ermac, all classic characters. So, and then number 4 here we have Cyber Ninja themed. Which of the cyborgs do we want to see return? If not, all 3 was an option here because people love their cyborgs. So I wanted to include that as an option. And we had Cyrax. Out of the 3, Cyrax was most requested, then Smoke, then Sector, a distant third. But number 1 here is people want all of them. Almost 50% of the votes went to all 3. People want to see the cyborgs return. It has been so long since we've truly got them as individual, unique characters. Mortal Kombat 9, in fact, 12 years ago is the last time we got to play these characters truly as themselves. They were like hybrid. There was like a hybrid Cyborg in Mortal Kombat X as Combat Pack 2, so well after release, basically Mortal Kombat X's dying days, well beyond the initial hype period. They threw out Cyborg, but only his individual variations kind of were meant to represent those characters, but it wasn't actually those characters. They weren't nearly as fleshed out as like if they were individual on the select screen or anything like that. So yes, these characters are in high demand and they gotta return. So I'm hoping to see all 3 as well. So I think that winning the vote shows that they really do have the support of the community. And then number 5, for poll 5, we have Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance characters that aren't as popular as the others. So I was kind of letting the lesser popular characters all battle it out a bit, and Drawman took first here with Movado, a decent second place here. And then Moloch and Suhao were pretty neck and neck for 3rd and 4th there. That's not really surprising. Drawman has such a cool design, but it's just not been brought back. It doesn't seem like Ed Boon and John Vogel really love this character. They've both been vocally against this character because he was such a pain to animate and design in the game because he has one hand is a club, so it switches sides based on where he's at on the screen, and it just looks weird. I don't know. I still think there's so much potential with this character, so I'd love to just ignore that aspect. And if it switches sides, who cares? It's a really cool character with a lot of potential, so bring him back. And then, yeah, Movado getting a good amount of support. Not really surprising that Moloch and Suhao, on the other hand, didn't receive quite the amount of votes. But not bad either. I mean, 10% for the last place character is not horrible. And then we had kind of a similar thing with the Deception characters. Hotaru here took the vote by a good margin here, 50% of the votes. And then Kira, Cobra, Dairu, and Darius shared a slot on here because only have 4 options. And even together, they couldn't get it done. They were a distant last place. So yeah, I think Hotaru's great though. I think this character definitely needs to be brought back. There's a lot of great design potential, and he was a lot of fun in Deception. And then with Kira, you'd have to redesign her a bit. I wouldn't want her to be just a Kano Sonya hybrid. They'd have to do more with that character. And then Cobra, you could have some fun Cobra Kai stuff. But yeah, Dairu and Darius are like bottom of the barrel. I'm not surprised that even together those characters could not compete. And then finally, the last poll I ran here was about sub-bosses and bosses and the more underrepresented ones. And as you can see, Onaga dominating with 55%. People want this boss back because I think they think of him with the 3D era, the characters that we've all been asking for. So they kind of go hand in hand. So let's bring back Onaga. And then second and third, Motaro and Kintaro battling out. Kintaro takes it just by a little bit. These are both really cool characters. They definitely need more time to shine like Goro has. It's crazy that they've just been kind of neglected like that. They haven't really been fleshed out like Goro has, and I think they deserve to be, so I'm hoping they return. And then a distant last place, like one of the worst of this entire of these entire polls, was Blaze. It just doesn't get a lot of love, I guess. But yeah, and those are it for the smaller polls that I ran on Twitter. I'd love to do more of those. But really, I just wanted to bring awareness to this big poll I'm running starting now. So make sure you go fill out your options for Mortal Kombat 1, and let's get a lot of good data and see what the community wants most. And that way, when it comes to DLC, maybe it'll make some bit of impact. Who knows? But I'd love to know what you're all thinking. Once again, make sure to like this video and subscribe if you haven't already. I appreciate it, and I will see you very soon.